nice too. So Telemesta, what's up, Femcel? Bend the knee. Hello. Just got home. Now that I live in a house, it's like one of those things where I get home and I hear some creak in the attic and I have to go like sweep each room, holding my key between my first and second finger as like a punch dagger, you know what I mean? In case any baddies are lurking. How you like this stream picture, Boner? What's up, Big Bull? Coochie Crypto. Particone66, good morning. Cassinia Big Boost, what's up? I've got my San Pellegrino Arranchiata. My Arranchiata! Which is just orange, I think. It's very fancy, hello. Fancy orange fucking sparkling water. It's not sparkling water, it's juice. What's up, Fair Vermicelli? Coochie Crypto, Slum Feast, Baba Jaga, Ice Cold Abundant. Resdacted. Hope you guys are ready for a super chilled out evening stream. Definitely gonna be very lo-fi, reflected in the music selection of the evening. You guys like that shit? What's up, Red Phone? Long time no see, buddy. Elias Ferlin. Alright, DGen fired. Thank you for the follow, Reflex 411. But Joggy got a fat steak grill, and that sounds like good shit, baby. What's up, El Karim? Amsel, yes. I think it's pretty low neuroticism. It's more prudent, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel fear about sweeping the house. It's more like, just gotta make sure it's all clear. I ain't about to be the guy that doesn't sweep his house, and there is a lurking baddie. What's up, Famous Jamis? Shab. Atticus Finch. Scented Candle Fan checking in, Ozzy. That's good shit, baby. I got the Chesapeake Bay Mind and Body Balance Plus Harmony. So we're rocking the Water Lily Pear tonight. That shit smells so good. Very tranquil. Had a long day today. How can you go about lowering the neuroticism of other family members? Ooh. That's always tricky. Nothing raises the neuroticism of neurotic people like telling them they're too neurotic, you know what I mean? Gotta do it indirectly. You gotta lead by example. If you're doing it right, there's a chance they'll come to you and just ask you like how you are so calm all the time. If someone is really being like shitty, pull them aside and be like, you know, let's bring down that negativity a bit. I won't like make fun of them in front of the group or whatever. Hey, what's up, Mimo? You can tell them to listen to my streams, yeah. The Shield Bros doing well with Jito. I mean, I personally had nothing in whatever the Solana version of Lido was. I think that's, well, Jito, I guess is probably what that is, right? So I did not receive that particular airdrop. I hope you guys did well with it. Thank you for the resubscription. I am Best the Q. Appreciate you. I gotta say, realizing that Solana is 10x off the lows already is kind of a mind trip. I think that's gotta be percentage-wise maybe the best performer in the whole market. Or nearly. It's crazy, yeah. Because it's like Solana is one of the majors, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have expected one of the majors. I know there was a bunch of forced VC selling and, you know, many legends surround that, but it's pretty nuts to think about that. Hey, what's up, Dragoon? Hyper Cheddar. And I'm glad to be in Solana. I think my cost basis on that is like $16, but still. Hey, what's up, Humble Retard? Yeah, it's been a minute. I didn't have much streams last week. I've been swamped. Just a shitload of stuff I've been doing lately. I'm going to scale it back a little bit. Low 20s, yeah, it's still a good entry. A lot of things like the Ilu Vusi is only up like 3x. I noticed I ended up checking to see if I still had any Joule left. Because Joule went up like 7x in a day or some shit. I'm not sure how that happened. Or why. Oh, has Caspa been killing it lately? I really don't follow the market that much. I just check the CoinGussy like once a day. Bless! Yeah, Famous Jameis, exactly. Ended up checking to see if I had any Joule. I do still have a fair amount of Joule, so it's not in profit, but that's pretty cool. Looking to buy anything on a pullback? Honestly, dude, I just do less these days. I really don't take much action. You blasted some of the Tavern tunes this week. Yeah, the Tavern tunes sound better the more up the price goes, I've noticed. Thoughts on correction going into end-of-year taxes? I mean, it's tough to correct as long as the ETF thing looms. I really don't think about it too much. Again, guys, the way that I'm playing this game now is very, very hands-off. Just kind of letting the Ponzers do whatever they feel like doing at this point. Not really too much plans to do much. What's up, Svargus? Get a letter from the IRS saying you owe $8,000 more for 2021? Sheesh. Nah, I wouldn't talk about any tax strategies, Alphareem. I have to be very prudent. Yeah, you gotta find a girlfriend first before you can have sex with her with a stream in the background. As long as you can back it up, so hope it works out for you. What do I think about eggs, dude? Don't even get me started on eggs. Eggs are they're the most complete calorie. The nature's powerhouse, dude. Eggs are very special. I think eggs literally are, I think of them as like nature's multivitamin. I think someone asked me, I said they could remind me the potatoes, right? The breakfast potatoes. Maybe I'm imagining someone having asked. Let me check. Yeah, the Brekkie Tato Alpha. Yeah, the secret, dude, is, I think someone actually mentioned it already, but the secret is to... So, when I say skillet, what I'm really using is a cast iron, and that can go in the oven. So I basically put some oil, usually I'll use butter, actually, on the potatoes. I'll put them in at 400 for like 20 minutes, and then maybe broil for 5 more minutes. They're ready to start crisping up. And actually, sometimes you don't even really have to cook it all in one skillet. You can just cook the potatoes in the oven until they're crispy separately as you cook like all the other components of the breakfast hash and shit. Not hash, but like breakfast potatoes dish. Eggs are breakfast? No. I like having sunny side up eggs, breakfast potatoes with a bunch of garlic and onion powder on them and maybe some cayenne. And some onions, diced onions with that shit. And a steak. I'm either a big breakfast guy or no breakfast at all. It just depends. I don't do light breakfasts. Like, some days, my natural way of living is to go like 22 hours without eating. Like, I only have one big meal every day. Is kind of like naturally how I feel is best to eat. However, I think that spacing out protein seems to be a little better, and having smaller meals allows, like protein-heavy meals allows one to stay in like a positive nitrogen balance, as Vince Gironda would say. I think there's definitely something to that. I eat steak almost every day, Baba Jaga. I think steak is probably... Steak and eggs together comprise, I believe, nature's healthiest foods. That's why the steak and eggs diet by Vince Gironda is so powerful. But I think, I get it, like if you're trying to shred up or whatever, the body can operate without carbs, but I do best with carbs, dude. I am just a much happier goblin. Steak, rice, and fruit can be good, but I like like white rice or potatoes as well. I like to have a little bit. I don't have too much. I would say I'm low to medium carb. I always have those before bed. I think one thing Andrew Huberman has been about for a long time is he has his protein and fat over the course of the day, and then he has most of his carbohydrates more before bed. That's definitely how I am too. Nothing tires me, like nothing gets me out of the day mode and into the night mode more than like a nice starchy meal. Definitely calms me down a lot. Yeah, I love fruit. But that stuff can definitely work. I know for a long time the carnivore community was like, they started introducing honey and stuff like that. The recliner nap, yeah, Doshimaki, exactly. I've got this giant recliner now. It's so fucking good. Hey, thank you for the follow, Killa Curry. Appreciate you. I have it in the perfect position, guys. So you know how it has like three different ways you can rotate it. So you can rotate the lower part of it. It's for like the leg part. My brain is not coming up. I've had my big starchy meal already, so my whole ass is working real slow. You know, like the footrest side of it, and then like the back side of it, and the head side of it. What's up, Mr. Allgreen and Doppel? Robin, yeah, it's like a lazy boy. I've got it perfectly positioned for either reading or just like posting up. The post-dinner post up, post-meal post up. That's good shit, baby. I've started doing naps a lot during the, like not a lot every day or anything, but I've started doing one almost every day. Getting a haircut today, Mark Uzi. What kind of haircut are you going for? Going for the head buzz? Oh, okay. Completely bald, huh? Bald as a cue ball, the Che cut. Picture's distracting up and well. I mean, this is what I'm focused on. This picture actually reminds me, I used to, I think everybody knows by now I went to UT Austin. So you guys will know, if you've been there, you would know the exact parking lot that I would talk about. There's this parking lot a couple blocks from the tower. It looks exactly like this on the top floor. And most people that would park in like sort of like a student parking, graduate student parking area, but they would fill up the first, second, and third floor. But I would always like to drive up to the top floor, and then I could survey the whole city from there. And met this girl down looks at this donut shop. Actually, I mean, you guys know where UT is, so if you know where that is, you know where Ken's Donuts is. They're really shitty, disgusting. Like, Ken's Donuts is like this cockroach infested. They shut it down, by the way. I was there recently to check it out. Nostalgia, to check it out for old time's sake, and they'd shut it down. Graffiti everywhere. Apparently they were delinquent on their payments. Which doesn't fucking surprise me. But a girl used to work, I think she worked at Ken's, or she was like there a lot. And like helping someone else work. I don't remember the exact details because I only went there I met her once. I met her there. Well, she looked a lot like this. So when I saw this picture, I had the balls that she'd come up there and join me in the night. I would be up there. I would actually get work done, guys. I'm a weird motherfucker. I would sometime I'd bring my laptop up and put it like right, not on the edge where it could fall off, but like up on the side, or I just kind of post up all alone at the top of this parking garage and get work done. I'd spend hours up there actually. Just thought it was super peaceful and the weather was always nice at night. Just have her come and keep me company some days. We just chat and smoke cigarettes and talk. It's good shit. That's good shit, baby. Do I pull dimes? I've never given a 10. Which doesn't mean they couldn't exist, but I have a very harsh system. I don't like to just, you know how like some people will be like, dude, she was a dime, and she was like a fucking soft 6. You know what I mean? I am not about that life. So like an 8 for me, that's like hardcore. That's like really fucking good. But because of that, I would say I've never pulled a dime. I've probably never, maybe 1 9 actually. I think the 9 was actually this girl, Donut Shop Girl. How do you get rid of candida? It's tough, dude. There's a couple of different ways you can go about it. There's fluconazole, but I wouldn't go that path. It's not the best. I would say the best way actually is there's like certain, I have a whole protocol basically. I wouldn't say fasting necessarily. I think carrots are good actually. They scrub the gut, sort of it's a Pete thing. I think that's something Ray Pete is right about. L-rhamnosus in particular is a really good probiotic that will clear out candida slowly over time. I would much rather people clear it out slowly and over time rather than try and kill it all at once. Some people say oregano oil, but that is really harsh, guys. Oregano oil will fuck a lot of people up, especially if they're already unwell from candida. Thank you for the follow, Jimmy Davis Eyes. Appreciate you. ACV, mixed results, I would say. But coconut oil. You have to be very, very consistent with coconut oil or caprylic acid. Caprylic acid is very strong against that stuff. And there's a couple of other things, but I think, basically one thing you can do is cook only with coconut oil for a long time and you will see results. I'm not just talking about cooking with it, but like soak your vegetables in it and shit. And trust me, guys, I hate doing that because I don't like coconut oil. The only time I don't hate coconut oil is when I scramble eggs with it. I actually think those are good for some reason. I don't know why. I hate the smell of it. I really don't like coconut oil, but it works. Straight up. You can supplement caprylic acid also. Don't go overboard, though. A balanced approach. A steady, balanced approach over time is always best. And you want to... I think some people are sensitive to either gluten, dairy, or both. You want to cut out seed oils, gluten, and dairy as well. Do I pre-scramble or scramble in the pan, man? That's a good question. Sometimes I will scramble in the pan. That's the American way. I had this Aussie friend I used to know. She was horrified by my American eggs. She's like, you need to take all you put it in the bowl and you whisk it up good and you put it into the pot, not the pan, very slowly on extremely low heat, and you fair dinkum, you just let it cook real slow. It'll be like butter. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's not great. Like, I actually think the super buttery, super soft, it's okay, it's situational, but I like look, I'm a fucking Texan, dude. This is how I cook eggs, is I literally I put a dollop of butter in there, or if I'm trying to do like a candida cleanse or some shit, maybe I'll go coconut oil. But I haven't had candida in a really long time. I did have it once. I put a dollop of oil in there, let the oil get hot, and just plop the eggs on in there, and then plop some like sharp cheddar cheese in there, scramble that shit all out, and it's good shit, baby. I like them a little runny, but a little firm, sort of in the middle. Flip them shits with a gun, yeah! That's what I'm saying, Red Phone. The sheesh, yeah, no, I mean, scrambled eggs are hard to screw up, to be honest. But, let me say this. As much as the protein is more bioavailable when it's cooked, I do try to make it a point to consume some eggs raw, because I believe that there is strong evidence to suggest, and I don't have a ton of solid proof in the studies, I think it's intuitive from certain logical premises based on my understanding of chemistry, that the cholesterol in the yolks of the eggs, which is really good for you, by the way, don't be fooled. This is not going to raise your real cholesterol here. It's a completely different mechanism. And actually, just before, I don't want to go off too much of a tangent, raw eggs are good because they don't denature the cholesterol. But I have been tracking my bloods for like Many years, I will say that very diligently. And I consume at least a dozen eggs a day, half of them raw, and my cholesterol numbers are very, very good. And since I started doing the eggs, they got better, not worse. My hypothesis is that the more cholesterol I consume, the less needs to be synthesized, but that I'm not really sure about that. All I have is the cold hard facts. The cold hard facts are I eat at least a dozen eggs every single day without fail, and my cholesterol numbers are excellent. One man's anecdote for you. Yeah, but the studies that disgusting looking gremlin on Twitter that is like pushing the all vegan diet or whatever. He's like, 1 egg will increase your morbidity by 12% per egg per day or whatever it is. And he looks like fucking garbage, dude. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Normally I try and stay wholesome and in my lane, but when someone is just vomiting out inane, harmful drivel, they deserve to catch a little flack for that, in my opinion. I'm very low neuroticism. If you guys get anger from me, it's going to be justified anger. That's the only good kind. Exactly, Red Phone. Many such cases. You eat tons of eggs, bacon, salt, red meat, blood work is immaculate. I do think that there is something to the idea of blood types or different ways people have evolved. So like people with different blood types or just different ethnicities may handle different foods in different ways, right? If you're European, you grew up with certain kinds of European, you'll have grown up with a bunch of things that maybe people in Central Africa may not tolerate so well. So, to just think health is just a complete monolith is foolish. However, I really am quite confident. I always encourage everyone to track their bloods, right? Some people, for whatever reason, they don't do too well with too many egg yolks. It's very unfortunate if that's the case for you, but you should, responsibly track it. But I am confident 95% plus of you guys out there are not going to be adversely affected by it. And like every vitamin and mineral you can imagine almost is in eggs. I get blood tests every 6 months, Robin. Like clockwork. I stay regular on all tests, STD tests as well. Run my life like a tight ship, boys and girls. Never have regretted that. What were we going to talk about? There was something someone had said before the egg thing. Yeah, they're like multivitamins, dude. Hormonal precursor, multivitamin, powerhouse, nutrients, treasures. You haven't run your life like a tight ship? Dude, as soon as you start, you're going to be like, how did I ever live otherwise? I mean, guys, you want to talk about lowering neuroticism, I would say one of the best ways to do it is to have that Excel sheet that I keep talking about with all the tabs for the various parts of life. So once I can visualize my life, I can control my life. I can take all necessary actions and steps to correct course or to improve it. I try and optimize, I try and improve everything in my life. A peak neuroticism father-in-law, it can be tough. It can be tough, especially with someone that is traditionally like a parent or someone like that, right? Like if it was a sibling, that's one thing. Or a cousin or an in-law. But if it's a parent, that can be really tough. Because technically, you're supposed to like honor thy mother and thy father. Whether you're religious or not, it just kind of makes sense. The improver, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Lord. Pudgy Penguins just dropped. They're releasing an open world blockchain game. Fucking Styx is gonna love that shit. I'm sure he knows already. When looking ahead and planning contingencies, any process I use, it just depends on what I'm planning for, but I do like to plan. I like to have plans for as much as I can. But I do like improv comedy, and I do other things that force me to improvise, because improvisation is an important part too, right? Like, life comes at you fast. You've got to do the best you can with it. I was going to try and answer the question about dealing with like a mother or a father or in-law that's super neurotic. What happened with the YouTube? Oh, you're talking about the mythology YouTube? I'm only keeping it private for now. I'm not stopping with that. But I iterated, and I think it didn't really make any sense to keep putting episodes out one by one. I think the better way would be to wait until I have about 12 banked up, and then I can let you guys binge. If that doesn't quote-unquote work, I mean, I haven't run any kind of promo on it. I haven't really pushed in on my Twitters yet. But I think that I was kind of like... I was doing a balanced approach at first because I knew if it was a mistake, I could pivot. And I think it was a minor mistake. Like, it's not a big deal, but I think it'd be better if I re-released them when there's like a dozen. And there's not just the Egyptian portion, but there'll be some Greek episodes mainly, or some Sumerian perhaps. Anyway, dealing with a father-in-law. I actually drained my Arranchiata San Pellegrino already. I'm going to probably grab another one in a second. Especially an in-law, that makes it even more complicated. At a certain point, dude, like, if they're your parents, they're going to have a certain level of, like, I know what's right because I'm the parent thing going on. Unless they're, like, really, really very evolved and they work on themselves a lot, and sometimes even then. It's going to be very difficult because they have the certain, I'm sure they have what they think are good intentions probably. But a lot of times they're just trying to live up to the responsibility they feel, but it's tough. It's like, you may just do it in private if you're gonna have a serious conversation with them. Body language is important. Try and make more for indirect body language. You don't want to be pressuring them super hard, right? But on the other hand, if it's really bad, like if it's adversely affecting your life, then you got to draw a boundary there and be like, look, I know I appreciate you probably have good intentions, and I appreciate that you're doing the best you can. Things will need to change. There will need to be adjustments made. Some of this behavior that I've been seeing from you it comes across very negative, or it comes across a bit high-strung, or it comes across a bit neurotic. That's not something that I want for my life. That's not something that I tolerate. It becomes disrespect if it continues to be repeated and it's above a certain threshold that I don't think is healthy to shrug off. I'm here to be kind and respectful with you to the extent that I can be. However, if you continue to behave in XYZ ways around me, it's not a behavior that I tolerate, and I will have to begin seeing you less until a time as you start to make some adjustments in terms of how you treat me. Something like that. If you do that, I mean, it's not perfect words. I'm coming up with these on the fly. You might even want to try and rehearse it or write it out a little bit. Make a real effort and be calm, right? If you're very calm and you project calm energy and calm vibes the whole time, I think that walking away is a very powerful pro-social tool sometimes. Because you're not stooping to the toxicity, right? So if they're being neurotic or toxic, you're not becoming neurotic to try and defeat their neuroticism. And if they're in your house, if you've got them put up in your house or something, you might say, look, you're going to have to leave. If you continue to be this way, you're going to have to leave, or I'll need to see some behavior adjustments. If you're in their house, maybe you look to try and move out. He's terrorizing his own family because he lost his job. I mean, maybe, okay, so if it's an anger thing or something like that, or abuse, you want to do it in a public place then, not a private. It can still be a private conversation, but take him out to a sports bar or something like that, right? Public place means he can't make some kind of scene or do something volatile. You want to stay very calm with him, but you've got to express firm boundaries and then be ready to consistently enforce. I think that no matter what kind of neuroticism someone's doing, boundaries are usually the answer. So maybe the environment would change, or maybe the things that you prepare would change, but overall, that's got to be the way to do it. It's not your fault, right? It's not your problem. It's not your fault. It's not your responsibility if someone else continues to choose to behave in a toxic or neurotic manner. And that can be tough when it's family, for sure. I think a lot of times it comes down to communication. It can be difficult to do that, but if you never communicate it, then they really never even maybe know. It's tough, dude. I wish you the best on it. That's right, Hybrid Cheddar. Sometimes excommunication or exile has to be, has to be the way. I think that's a really pro-social way of doing stuff. It's drawing a line. You could do that, Apollonius. I think oftentimes when it comes to setting boundaries, it's less... I personally will try to veer less toward the overt negative consequences and more towards like, here is a positive vision I have, but like any consequences would be like, yeah, you're going to see me less. So it's like if it's like my kids would not see their grandfather, maybe it starts with they would see their grandfather less, but ultimately that would be, I think, a fine boundary to set. I think a good, firm boundary to set. I mean, if grandpa or grandma is really toxic, then there's no reason the kids should grow up with that or around that. Everybody is... always try and leave them a way that they can improve as well. Give them steps, give them concrete things they can do or behaviors they can express to improve. That's very important, because if they don't know how you want them to behave, then they might just be lost. It's like I said in the last couple streams, maybe it was like 2 streams ago, but like no relationships could be unconditional, in my opinion. Everything, it doesn't have to be like massively transactional or whatever. There should always be conditions, though. Kindness and respect have got to be there. Good luck, dude. I'm gonna go grab another bevy here. Be back in a sec. It's your first stream? What's up, Smoking Ted? Welcome. A bevy, yeah. I think that's an Australian, like, whatever you call it, word. A bevy. The Aussies like to just kind of shorten everything, you know what I mean? It's a very wholesome culture, Australian culture. I've thought about actually checking out Australia as a potential place I could live. So I'm not sure. I know Australians. I've never met an Australian that I don't like. They all do look vaguely marsupial. I'm not sure what the reason for that is. I think they'd be the first to admit it, though. They're just such a they're such a wholesome and yet mischievous people, you know what I mean? It's like they're the first to admit it, but they're like, I think it's it was a prison colony, you know what I mean? So everyone's got that sort of mischievousness to them. Yeah, it looks like a nice, safe place to raise a family for sure. I don't know how that happened. You know, it's like it used to just be a bunch of, British prisoners, basically. Could be something to that, femcel. A sort of conforming to the surrounding fauna. There could be some reason that Australians look like marsupials evolved the way they do. Be worried about government lockdowns. Do they have worse lockdowns than the States? I know some places in Europe had some pretty crazy lockdowns. I thought it was pretty crazy in the States, to be honest. We were locked down for quite some time. Taking a nice evening walk while you listen to the stream. That's good shit, baby. New Zealand is an intriguing concept as well. The Kiwis. It just seems like good vibes. I actually think, if I recall correctly, I believe Kobe was considering potentially moving down to New Zealand. And I think his logic was that if there's a World War III, New Zealand's as likely a place as any to survive it. That sounds not unreasonable to me. Police were shutting down local businesses. That's crazy. It was definitely a crazy time, dude. It's been a crazy time. It's like when the craziness began. It's kind of one thing after the other that began with COVID. Because you had COVID and then you had all the proxy wars that have kind of set up now that some people are saying are like the vestiges, the beginnings of what could be a preamble to World War III. Can the world just chill the fuck out, dude? I've built such a nice life for myself. It's like, does the world just have to get fucked? Life is good, dude. Life is simple, peaceful, wholesome. Just enough adventure and treasure hunting to keep it spicy. I've been doing way too much work on these businesses. I think I'm probably going to end up just pawning them off so I can get back to what really matters, which is treasure hunting for obscure relics and not on me. Yeah, exactly. Make it and the world goes to shit. Fucking 10 years of being super frugal so that I could finally make it. I make it and I only chill for like, you know what I mean, a couple of years. Yeah, you like the low neuroticism narrative? That's good shit, Red Phone, for real. I think it's kind of the keystone of a good life, actually, is low neuroticism. And calmness. Gonna have to get started filling up the harem pipeline, though. Do I use a candle for nightlight? Sometimes I'll read by candlelight, yeah. Like I'll have a scented candle next to my... So my recliner... I play video... So my recliner is like across from my TV and my nightstand... Or not nightstand, just a TV stand or whatever. So it's like next to my couch. But it's also in this corner of the living room where there's a bunch of giant windows. So I can swivel the recliner about 90 degrees to face the window. And I got a nice end table right there. So I can put the scented candle next to it. Or I can put like a... Like I said, I don't really drink, but maybe I'll have like a half of a cup of whiskey or something like that while I'm reading. But I read a lot in the evenings usually. So I'd say most nights I read at least an hour or two. Sometimes more. Yeah, it's very cozy. I'm assembling my bookshelves. I'm going to start building a miniature version of the library. This is only the prototype sheet. The eventual chateau is going to be the real chateau. It's going to be I'll probably get a pretty big house. I have an entire wing dedicated to being a library. I think that could be good shit, baby. That could be good shit, baby. E-dates to build the harem could be fun content. Oh no, I would never... I don't think it'd be wholesome to put girls on camera or anything like that. just for content, you know what I mean? I always protect any woman I date. I always protect her. I'm very big on protecting. I'm a protecting type of person. I always want them to feel safe with me. It's gonna be more tough in the winter, though. Probably have to go to some coffee shops or some shit. I've thought about, I don't know. I think, to be honest, I don't really think that, like, my Twitter accounts would attract women in any meaningful way. But I do think that eventually if I dox and I have an Instagram for treasure hunting, that will attract a certain type. I could have harem auditions. I should probably leverage the technology. Hello. Am I a Mormon? No. I don't even know any Mormons that have more than one wife, actually. I think it's kind of one of those things where it's allowed, the same as in Islam, but like you don't have a ton of Muslims with 4 wives. They just technically could if they wanted to. A prepper? You think a prepper would be attracted to the treasure hunting Instagram? I don't know. I'm not really much of a prepper myself. Well, I guess more nowadays. I guess there's this whole idea that there might be this solar flare that knocks out the internet. I think the chance is very low, but on the other hand, like, I definitely have a lot of 9mm rounds, and I've got a fair amount of shotgun slugs. Got a really nice M4 Benelli. I am fucking ready to go, dude. I'm actually thinking of getting an assault rifle as well, because they're cool. Why not? Why not have like a fucking assault rifle to defend the shit, dude? For wholesome self-defense scenarios, of course, you know what I mean? You hear some crash in the basement, some imbecile comes into my house, I'm like, ho 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 ho! Fool! Finally, a legal outlet for my aggression. Look here, Korn, blood for the blood god. Load up before I cannot, yeah. Pretty much. I need to get some, like, solar batteries and shit. A lot of canned food. I'm not sure. I should do some research and see what would work. Like, would a walkie-talkie work? Battery-powered walkie-talkies? I don't know. I'm sure the answer can be gleaned. You're in the market for a concealed carry. I think SIG is gonna... SIG is by far my favorite sidearm manufacturer. Like, my P226 is so fucking butter smooth, dude. The action is so smooth. There's almost no recoil. It's very accurate. It's easily moddable. I've got a nice green laser sight I can add to that. It's easy to add a silencer. Thank you for the follow, Gustaven Slins. I've shot a lot of guns, and I think the SIG 226 is by far my favorite. The Legion is really good. It's a nice beaver tail, too. Won't catch the web on my hand. Yeah, it's probably a nothing burger, Robin. I think the chance is likely less than it's negligible, I'm sure. I might as well have a couple months worth of refried beans in the closet. I got so much fucking space in this house now. I need to fill it with weefus, guys. I got this massive house. Well, it's not a massive house, but it's bigger than I'm used to. By far. It's weird. It's different. I like it, though. I feel more empowered having all this space to call my own. It's my territory. Where do you live, Baba Jaga? Where do they not allow? I mean, they don't allow handguns in a lot of places. In Texas, we have the castle doctrine. Oh, just in the north, damn. Castle doctrine in Texas means if I feel threatened, if someone breaks into my house or something, then I am within my rights, you know what I mean? to do what I gotta do. Lethal force, if necessary, is authorized. So many good things about Texas. No state tax on capital gains. It's great. Nice weather. Fucking Elizabeth Warren, man. You want to talk about a high neuroticism individual? Look no further. God damn. She is like neuroticism itself is the unholy energy that keeps Elizabeth Warren together. And if she ever relaxes even a little bit, she will literally fall apart. She will become unmade. Disgusting energy. I would never let her be around me. She is not welcome in my home. Elizabeth Warren is not welcome in my motherfucking home, dude. I ain't about that life. Terrible vibes. She has such horrible vibes. Clinton was kind of like that as well, but E. Warren she's just so tense, dude. God damn. What's up, Thant? Shalom, motherfucker. Yeah, I really try not to hate on people, but like E. Warren is just... I'm not even really hating on her per se. I'm establishing a boundary. She is not allowed to be near me. So I remember one time she was running like this political campaign. She was like, have a beer with Elizabeth Warren, and like nobody contributed. Even people who like her would not want to be around her. Yeah, she would not be allowed into the preliminary harem pre-qualifiers for sure, Red Phone. I don't really like Gensler either, to be honest. Anyway, may as well have some more positive vibes here for the stream. Which isn't the same thing as, like, I won't talk about people and, like, stances that I don't like. It's more of a question of, what are we going to focus our attention on for the time that we're chilling? I'm gonna get back into the treasure hunting race. I've got some intel that came across my desk relatively recently that just lit a fire. Did I see STX rip? No, I did not. A lot of things are ripping like crazy though, dude. A lot of things. And it's interesting too, like I am moving away from being a crypto personality. I am in my lane. I am happy. I like to talk about life and wisdom and happiness and just chilling and good vibes and shit. But I'm really starting to distance myself from that because I just think it's just weird. Like no matter how you spin it, I don't want to be shilling things to people. I want people to make their own choices, and I also want people to know me for who I am, not really like my calls and shit. Shangri-La Intel, yeah, it actually is Baba Jaga. All kinds of stuff, Red Phone. Maybe I'll tell you guys some stories. I've been many places, dude, and I've done some fucking really interesting shit. So I plundered I always have to think about it because some of the stuff that, like, I am lawful good, but my lawfulness comes from my own ethical code, you know what I mean? Usually I'll be reading dissertations or I'll be reading sort of obscure arcani that I find here or there. I'm a very good sleuth. I'm good at finding information about stuff that I'm interested in. And I ended up figuring out that there was this, for example, there was this amulet. This amulet that was worn by several kings in a temple in the jungle of Cambodia, and I went there and I found it. That's probably the coolest thing I've ever done. I actually found it. I used a bunch of different sources, corroborated them, and I found this ancient amulet. That was a dangerous one. I've been on some dangerous missions. I've got intel about something that might be kind of like the city of El Dorado. Spent time in Peruvian jungles. I killed a jaguar with a machine gun and no one believed it. lot of North African stuff, some Egypt stuff. Yeah, I found an animist relic in Central Africa. That was the closest call ever. Charisma check passed. I mean, basically, dude, persuasion check success because I knew some French. Oftentimes, Baba Jag, I was just going to say, sometimes I have to have contacts on the ground I can buy guns from. If it's legal, of course, to anyone listening. Other times you can have guns sent, but you have to get proper permits for each country and shit. Yeah, the Jag jumped out of a tree. It was going to try and kill me. Think I'll ever write a book? I don't know, dude. There's something very special to me about having seen so many things only with my own eyes. And gone through so many experiences just myself alone. That's hard to explain. It's almost like if I were to talk too much about them, or if I were to try and write a book about them or something. There's certain things I want to just keep for myself. I'm collecting not only the physical artifacts, but the experiences that are uniquely my own. Indiana Guavablam. No, I wouldn't say I'm a micro-celebrity or anything, Dragoon. Some things I'll always keep to myself. I mean, actually a long time ago, so when I was a kid, I thought to myself, there's a chance aliens are watching, or that there is a god, or that there are gods, or that the sun is a god or something. And for whatever reason as a kid, I thought, like, if there is some kind of God out there, or if there is some kind of observer to our lives, it would be so cool to have a life that was like an adventure, that would be entertaining to watch, to distract them from the boredom of eternity. And in a way, I thought to myself, like, if eternal recurrence exists, which is a possibility, I want to have the most interesting life possible. And frankly, if it doesn't exist, I want to have the most interesting life possible. And in the end, even if there aren't any kind of gods, I myself am observing this. I want to bear witness to interesting shit and do interesting things. It's a quiet resolution. And I have so far, and I plan to do a lot more of it. I consider myself very active with this stuff still. I do it entirely for myself, though. But I do think that sharing some of it with the world could be cool through an Instagram. It might set fires in a good way. Oh, if I hadn't, I think most people should grind until they're relatively financially free, Coochie Crypto. But financial freedom takes a lot of different forms to a lot of different kinds of people. However, it's like, yeah, I try and live an interesting life, but a lot of my life is like, well, for a long time it was like grinding and shit. No, but a lot of, Dragoon, maybe you were one of the people that had suggested that. Nihilism by For Real, or FR Seraphim Rose. I have not read it. A lot of people have suggested it to me. Have not looked into it. Father Seraphim Rose. There have been times where I've like Googled it and I was about to read it, but I just got distracted or whatever. If you guys keep prodding me about it, maybe I'll look into it. And then part of it was, Indiana Jones movies and growing up with Drake's Fortune shit, the Uncharted shit. I always thought, why not? You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing about the harem, guys, is it's like, I will make it happen. No one has to believe me. The reason that I talk about it is to kind of like massage it into the milieu so it's not weird when I do achieve it. But I have never met a challenge I couldn't meet. I've never encountered something that I set my mind to for a long time that I wasn't able to accomplish. It's a quiet resolution. That's the best way to put it. I'm very resolute. It never has to prove anything to anybody. I just decide that something will happen, and then I just make it happen no matter how hard I have to try, no matter how long it takes. I'm very determined. So I know it's super weird. As long as it's not weird to my tribe, then, I mean, even if it is, then it is what it is. But I'd rather that it weaves its way into the cultural milieu I've created here. Because I know it is kind of weird for our culture. But then again, when you're somebody that raised himself on the history of all cultures and thinks critically about that stuff, it's not actually weird at all. I think a harem can be a very natural way for things to operate. It's going to be more difficult in modernity. There's a lot more things to navigate that way, but it's definitely doable, I think. If I didn't think it was doable, I wouldn't try to attempt it. Because not only will it be the harem, boys and girls, it's going to be the best harem. The most high-quality, elite quality harem. Was I raised? Yeah, I was raised as a Catholic, actually, but it didn't resonate with me. I mean, that's not true. It resonated with me from the standpoint that I thought it was a wholesome community of people. I liked church. I liked going to church, but I didn't believe in it. To me, it seemed like this religion and religions in general were probably written. Some of them were written by power-hungry people, but other people wrote religions because they realized humans needed them. They realized that human animals needed to have this Eye of Sauron-esque god watching all of their actions in order to ensure they did the right thing. They needed guidance, they needed enshrined wisdom, but also the threat of hell and the fear of God to make sure that people listened. It was like architect-type people that thought to themselves, yeah, I'm gonna make this religion because that's what's needed. One thing I really like about the Warhammer 40k series, and one of the reasons I'm a staunch loyalist, that is what the Emperor basically is, the God Emperor of mankind. He's almost like an organic extension of humanity itself, which is the answer to the question, how will we be good? How will we survive, right? He's the answer to that question. It's almost like a bioorganic process that happens. Like, you know how sometimes I'm always saying, like, government is biological? It fills the vacuum, the physics-based vacuum that's an extension of humans interacting with each other. It's just naturally going to happen. And if you have, like, anarchy and shit, then you will still have government. It's just going to be a government of tyranny by strong gangs that enslave people who are too idealistic or like sheep. Government is biological, and so is religion, I think. Oh, you like the rice post? Yeah. I love rice, dude. I get amped up about rice and potatoes and eggs. And steak. Yeah, I am Germanic. I worship Wodan in the gym. Yeah, I have a rice cooker. It's a stainless steel rice cooker, so it doesn't have all the toxic non-stick, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think most monotheistic religions probably evolved from polytheistic ones, but the point that I was making is more that people needed shit to believe in. They needed things. They needed the idea of an afterlife, or they needed the idea of these more powerful beings to keep them in line and give them that sort of incentive and disincentive structure. Hey, you like this Mandalorian lo-fi? That's good shit, baby. Are older religions more based? I gravitate to them more. I like the idea of worshiping the sun. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's like prudent. And I think sunning is very healthy. I think a lot of times these were sort of projected archetypes of what we had within. So like having a war god, having